So our last segment talked about, violent protests or violent riots versus peaceful protest. And we talked about the things police officers are doing and can do to make the event more peaceful and how they can come together with the protesters and, be unified. This one, I want to talk about how the different things protesters can do to, defend each other and look out for one another and, help keep things peaceful. And I have a few stories here that kind of show the difference of how people have been able to protect their businesses and protect each other. So we start off here with a video showing a husband and wife savagely attacked by looters with 2x4s for defending their business. And no one comes to help them here. They don't have any firearms or any weapons. He comes outside with what looks like a golf club. So in the story here, a graphic and disturbing video shows a group of men attacking a husband and wife after the couple attempted to stop the rioters from looting a business in Rochester, New York. There were widespread looting and rioting downtown Rochester Saturday evening. According to Wham TV, the Villa, a sportswear and sneaker store in Rochester, was one of the businesses looted on Saturday. At the Rochester Fire Equipment Company, a group of men smashed the glass exterior and were about to loot the jewelry store next door. The men were using 2x4s and a metal ladder to break the glass. The woman told the men to stop destroying the business, and instead of dispersing, one of the men started punching the woman in the face. The woman covered her head as the rioters continued to pummel her. The husband of the woman heard the commotion and came out of the store. The group then started hitting the husband and wife with the 2x4s. The husband used a golf club to attempt to fight off the men who were attacking his wife. The husband was struck several times with the 2x4s and screamed in agony as he retreated. And then one of the attackers threw the woman headfirst into a metal window covering. The husband returned his screams, "Get away from my wife." They continue to swing the 2x4s, and then the video ends. So these people were just obliterated by these rioters. They had the crap beat out of them, not able to really defend themselves. It was insane. Then we move on to another guy who was again beat within an inch of his life trying to defend a business. So a machete-wielding man in Dallas was brutally beaten by rioters on Saturday night after police said he was allegedly trying to protect his neighborhood from protesters. The victim went to the 2200 block of North Lamar Street carrying a machete to allegedly protect his neighborhood from protesters. Dallas police spokesperson Carlos Almeida told Fox Business the victim confronted protesters while holding the machete and was subsequently assaulted by protesters. He was transported to a hospital while he remains in stable condition. And there's video of this, and people are beating him with, skateboards and sticks and rocks, and the image is awful. He is on the ground and just eaten almost to death. It's a horrific scene. So those are instances where people are stepping up, trying to do the right thing and keep the rioters from hurting their business or hurting other people's businesses or other people's homes. But the problem is they're alone and they don't have a very good means of defense, especially against mobs of people. So it's sad, not seeing other people step in and help them. It's sad seeing them beaten down like this. But now we're going to get to some stories where the people actually were more successful in keeping the rioters at bay and stood together and stood strong. So this is an article here, and this was a few days ago. And you may have seen the New York Post article. I remember seeing it where they showed the two rednecks with guns protecting a business. Well, this article actually shows that there were a few more people there. A couple rednecks, quote, that they say. The New York Post on Thursday reported these two armed rednecks and two bearded men with long rifles strapped to their chest menaced the city with their guns in part of some overall white versus black narrative, yada yada. Okay, so it was originally painted as two crazy white guys with guns out in public. But it came out that, there were at least four of these defending this tobacco store, it looks like. People of different races, and they all have their guns there, and they're protecting the store, and they didn't seem to have any problems. We also have another article where black civilians arm themselves to protect racial violence and protect black-owned businesses, and they're all standing in front of their storefronts with guns. And again, I hate that they're always bringing race into this, to make their side sound right, whether it's right wing or left wing, I hate when people always have to include black. This person was black. This person was black. It's people standing together, protecting their First Amendment with their Second Amendment. They're protecting the right to defend what they own and protect their business and their families and friends. We have another story of a vigilante with a gun trying to stop looters from, I think, robbing a bank. So, shocking pictures have emerged of an armed vigilante attempting to stop a bank robbery in Santa Monica during widespread violence and chaos this weekend. It came as protesters in California, New York, and D.C. have confronted and stopped looters from ransacking during protests. So the images show a man pulling a gun on another person in the middle of the street outside a bank. As tensions escalated, he's sitting there holding the gun on him. So the armed vigilante attempts to stop a bank robbery in Santa Monica. The man with the gun stands in front of the bank as violence and tensions escalate. So, like I said, you have people, this guy's just got a handgun, but you have people coming out here with their weapons, and they're not going crazy shooting everybody like people might have you think that Second Amendment, activists are going to do. They're just saying, hey, you're not going to mess with us because we have these guns. Lastly, the last story we have here is a, group of protesters saw a police officer who was separated from his group. Here's what they did. So, essentially, the summary is that this officer was separated from his group of other police officers. He was alone. This guy right here saw what was happening and stepped in to defend him because there was a big mob of protesters nearby and he was worried about his safety. So some other people saw what was going on and joined in. You can see they form a human chain around this police officer to prevent other protesters from getting in and hurting this officer. Genuinely, caring about the guy's life, don't care that he's a police officer, whatsoever. They're going to protect him because they think he's in danger. And this is the kind of stuff I was talking about wanting to see, Not the first two stories where people get absolutely beaten to death, but people stepping up, using their rights they have, Second Amendment rights, or just using a group of people they can get together to protect those that can't protect themselves and to protect people's well-being and lives and just, keep order in all this chaos because the police are overwhelmed and National Guard is being sent in, but in the meantime, all this stuff's still going on. They're not there at the time. Someone's got to step up and do something, and it's awesome to see these people. They're putting themselves at risk, stepping in and doing this. And I'm sure it's we can sit here behind our computer screens and look at it all day long and be like, oh yeah, it's good what they did. But it is probably quite frightening and, terrifying for these people with all the violence going on around to actually step in and stand up for what's right and stand up for people's rights. So it's really good to see that. And it's nice today, that we can see some of these stories. The police officers standing in unison, marching with the protesters. The protesters standing up for a cop and defending businesses. These are the people that are trying to hold this country together and do the right thing. Versus the people that are purposefully, inciting violence, setting up pallets of bricks in the middle of the street for people to throw at things, encouraging organized violence on different businesses and cities, people going in and looting just to make a profit. Those are the sick people. Those are the morally corrupt people that we need to be taken care of, and justice needs to be served. All these other people are just people that want to stand up for their rights and stand up for other people's rights. And, make America a freaking better place. And I hope we see more stories like this come out as these go on, and that the riots don't get worse. And I think these stories need to get out. I don't think, the light shines on these stories as much as the bad ones. For when you get on and look, you see multiple stories of someone getting beaten down or trampled on, and it makes police look bad. It makes the protesters look bad. And it seems like the goal is to make everyone look bad when you've got people trying to do good out there. And we need to spread these things, share these things, continue to share stuff, share these stories you hear with other people, and encourage people to do the right thing and help each other in this time. So that's going to wrap up the show for today. Thank you guys for tuning in for all the segments. I appreciate you guys watching. Remember, you can find me on YouTube. I'm also going to be on wherever you can get podcasts in an audio version. And don't forget to click the like button if you enjoyed this. But more importantly, if you can share this and share it with people so we can get these good stories out there and encourage them. And if you want more of these type of stories and just covering the news and seeing the good things that are happening and what we can do, make sure to click the subscribe button, because whenever I come out with more of these, you'll be notified right away and you can share them and whatnot. But again, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow. You guys have a good one.